Hello, everyone. Welcome to the first episode of the Back Five podcast. I can hear myself echoing. No problem there. I'm pretty sure it's from Alex's side, but no problem there. Let's get it started. Really excited for this one. Really excited to work with these guys, YouTube legends, Arsenal legends. I hope you guys always enjoy the show. So we will be doing this once every single month, mostly Sundays. Depends on when Arsenal is playing. It could be Saturday, it could be Sunday, but I'll let Alex introduce the show first. So, Alex from Canon Fodder, do the honors.
Well, listen, Glenn, thank you for having to host this collaboration on your channel. But it's literally good. I mean, over the last 4 years, we're doing Canon Fodder TV. The one thing I can say has been absolutely fantastic is like we're bringing people together on social media, the platform YouTube or Facebook or actually Twitter. But this collaboration, yeah, the Back Five is just going to having like Arsenal related channels coming together and just talking about everything Arsenal. Coin the phrase of getting quietly on this channel. But thank you for the invitation, Glenn. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. Always an honor to work with you. So we'll get to the topics very soon. If you're watching this live, thank you for being here. If you're watching this on replay, all the timestamps will be in the description to help you navigate through the video. So let's introduce the panelists. So first up is Ray from Arsenal Fan Circle. How are you?
I'm good, Glenn. How are you? And Alex also. I want to say happy Mother's Day to everybody out there. All the mothers. Most important job in the world.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah.
Happy
Mother's Day to everyone on that side as well. So the three of us on screen right now, this is three different continents, and that is what Arsenal does, bringing people together, and that's what we love about football and Arsenal. And next up is Max, also
hi
from,
guys.
Let's say from the Red Room, and also a panelist on Arsenal Circle as well. How are you?
I'm very well, thanks, guys. Great to see you all. Sunday evening, what could be better than seeing you all and seeing everybody for a bit of Arsenal chat? I'm looking forward to the collaboration. It's going to be fantastic. Lots to talk about. And I say happy Mother's Day to everybody as well.
Yeah. And actually, we didn't plan the red and white, one side and blue and white on the other side. It just happened.
Very coordinated, yeah.
Didn't plan it at all. So this podcast is called the Back Five podcast. It's supposed to be five of us, but as usual, Arsenal are usually down to 10 men. So we do understand. That's why we're down to one man in this past podcast. But no worries, though. We will be collaborating with different Arsenal fans. The fifth member will be different Arsenal fans. Mostly every single month, we'll try and do that as well. So the topics today, we will be covering the top four. But first, Alex, international break, how are you feeling about it? Did it come at the right time? Did it come at the wrong time?
Personally, I think it came at the wrong time. I mean, I think on the back of like the 5 wins on the bounce and then the loss to Liverpool and then the win against Aston Villa and the way we celebrated, people getting upset. I think Arteta would have wanted the momentum to be continued. But I think, for me, it possibly came at the wrong time. And it's funny, you should actually come to me first because we did a poll on our platform, Canon Fodder TV. And surprise, a lot of people said that it came at the right time. I'm thinking, really? It came at the right time? I can't figure that one out. But no, I think it probably come at the wrong time. The momentum has been lost, hasn't it, for 2 weeks? I know we're going to be playing Crystal Palace next. But I think Arteta would have loved there not to have been an international break. So for me, it's come at the wrong time.
Matt, how about you? Right time, wrong time? Do you usually like international breaks in terms of mostly like recovering from injuries and stuff like that, or do you just keep it going throughout?
Well, do you know what? I'm very surprised by that poll result, Alex. I agree. Really coming after that kind of Liverpool game and then coming back with that Aston Villa result. The momentum's there, your spirits are up, you're ready to go, and then you have this stop-start period in between with the international break. So it's a little bit frustrating, really, because, obviously the Crystal Palace, I think they're next. You really want to just get stuck into that game as soon as possible, hopefully get the 3 points in the bag and just continue building that momentum. Obviously with internationals and things, you don't want to run the risk of injuries or things like that, touch wood. So yeah, I think it did come at the wrong time. I'm really surprised by that poll. I'm really surprised.
Yeah, it's like 66% of on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube said
it came cross-platform.
Yeah, it's been really again momentum. I think with Arteta, the one thing you'd have been worried about would have been injuries. Make sure the players come
Yeah.
back from international duty without sustaining any injuries. I know Smith Rowe did not play against
Yeah.
Switzerland, and I know there was some kind of injury issue, but nothing too serious. But yeah, for me, again, it came at the wrong time. But that's just me.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe Ray disagrees. Ray, where do you stand on that?
Go for it, Ray.
Glenn, I'm here thinking it came at the wrong time, but obviously the angle could be we just had 3 difficult games, 3 tiring games, and we have whittled our squad down to where we have basically a squad of 14, 15 in the team. And we saw we were dead on the legs a little bit against Aston Villa. But, to echo what Alex and Matt had said, to continue winning cures all, right? So even though you've got tired legs, you're winning games. And this international break, we would have wanted to continue that word Alex used, momentum. Keep going. We saw the unity amongst the team at Aston Villa. Winning, that cures all, I think. Yes, the international break comes, and we may be at risk of having more injuries from these international breaks. So you can never tell. You can get injured in training. You can get injured walking down to get some milk. But yeah, we'll take it as it comes. I do think it was at the wrong time, though, as well. The momentum was building for us.
Ray, did you do a poll? Did you do a poll on your channel, Ray?
I did not, actually.
No? Okay.
No.
Yeah.
That tripping and falling because of milk, that sounds like something that would happen to an Arsenal player. That definitely sounds like something that would happen to Arsenal player. So I definitely agree with you guys. Wrong time. We are just, I think we've lost only 2 games this year, or since even December, against City and Liverpool, the 2 teams who are always beating everyone else anyway. So I definitely think it came at the wrong time. But now, after this international break, it's straight up until the end of the season. No international breaks, no breaks at all. We'll be playing nearly every single midweek. So it's going to be pretty interesting. Thank you for everyone who has joined so far. Anu, the Assembled, always a regular on this guy's channels as well. Colin Young, RK, thank you guys for joining so far. And Assembled says, I'm with Ray, trust the process. So the one thing that we'll cover today is the top 4. The top 4 is for us. How does it look like for Arsenal? Will we finish in the top 4? Are we confident of finishing in the top 4? So we will be putting polls in the chat as we go on. And the first one is, how confident are you guys of finishing in the top 4? So at the moment, I was looking at the Tottenham's fixtures, West Ham's fixtures, United and ours, and I'd actually say I'm 80% confident. That's the highest I've ever been for 7 years. So I'm very, very confident of it because of our fixtures. We will go through the fixtures as well later on, but I will start with Ray on this one. But let's see how Alex says first.
Glenn, there are no easy games. There are no easy games in the Premier League, and that's the problem. If you look at the positions from 4 to 8, I think those 4 teams, they're separated, from 2 to 3 points. So, if we go on a, again, God forbid, on a losing run, we're out of it. Whereas if those beneath us go on a good winning streak, they're in it. So there are no easy games. I actually looked at the next 3 games that Arsenal has, and the next 3 games that Man United have, and West Ham. But I'm thinking, I can't cherry pick and say, you know what, we've got the easier running, or they've got an easier running. It's just, it has to be one game at a time. And I'm going to say, actually, I'm not going to flip flop. I said at the beginning of the season, it's going to be an 8th place finish, and I've got to stick to it. One game at a time. I look at Ray. Go for it, Ray.
Well, Alex, I'm gonna poke you a little bit with the phrase you use. The chickens coming home to roost. Well, Alex, maybe not this season. The chickens may not come home to roost, because I'm very, very confident that Arsenal can finish top 4. We've gone through almost 75% of the season now, and we've been pretty consistent in the points that we've gathered since, of course, the atrocious 3 games at the start of the season. This young team, yes, it's a young team. I think they're carrying the elders in many facets, in many areas of the field. We do have our deficiencies in Granit Xhaka and Lacazette up front, but I'm very confident. We're on course for 73 points, and I'm going to take some points off because we are a young team. We're probably going to feel that tense, that pressure in these last 10 games. I don't see Tottenham being consistent enough to beat us to that top four. I don't see Man United being consistent. They have the firepower, they have the players, but they don't seem to have the unity that we just talked about as well. So yeah, Alex, I'm quite confident in the top four here.
All right, so let me ask you this question, and Ray. With Crystal Palace being the next game, what's your prediction for that game there? Because if you look at our last five meetings, I think we've got like 4 draws.
Very bad record there.
So what's your prediction for the Crystal Palace game there?
We did beat them away from home last season, right at the end of the season, and that's when maybe the pressure was off this young team, and Pepe was playing well in that game. But yeah, I'll take a draw. I'll happily take a draw at Selhurst Park away from home, knowing that we've got Brighton and Southampton coming up. 7 points from 9 would be a very nice return, I think, coming back. And with this international break, Alex, Glenn, Matt, we're gonna start slowly. I can see traditionally we come back from these breaks, and I think we play Monday as well, which is another impediment in that game. So yeah, we're gonna come back slow, I think, and kudos to Patrick Vieira. He's really got that team moving as well. So I think he's positioned himself very nicely in a couple of years. If the Arsenal job, if there's a vacancy there, that he's right there on the doorstep of the Emirates.
But Ray, very quick before I know Ben needs to go to Matt. But I mean, you're talking about you'd be happy with a draw, but it's not going to how can I say stop our momentum, because we need a win. It's not a draw. It's about
I don't think it'll stop our momentum. We've won something like 7 of the last 9 games. We haven't had a lot of draws in the league, so at some point in time we're going to end the season with 6 or 7 draws, and we have 3 so far. So I think we've been either winning or losing games, and I think we're going to slow it down a little bit and pick up draws here and there.
We'll have a breakdown of the fixtures very, very soon, but let's hear from Matt. Before you come to you, Matt, Ray, out of 10, since I'm 8 out of 10, how are you confident to finish in the top 4 out of 10?
I'll do an 8.5, right?
Wow, even higher than mine. Matt, are you going to take it lower or even higher?
Do you know what? There's a lot of factors here. You've got some good teams around us. United, Tottenham haven't been the most consistent. We've been very, very consistent, as Ray said. We've actually, for the first time in a long time that I can remember, we've actually managed to start picking up points away from home. Our home form's been pretty good. I know Colin Young mentioned about, I think Arteta's been more lucky than anything. I don't think so. I think, you don't get lucky that often. The consistency doesn't come from luck. I think that's good form. We've clearly got, an identifiable way of playing now, and a system. He's clearly got his starting 11. He knows what he wants from his team. The team knows what, their manager want from them. And we're really kind of, picking up a bit of form. And I think, I was worried post-January about not being able to score goals. I think we were all probably a little bit concerned about not picking up a striker in January and where that was going to leave us. But we are starting to be able to pick goals up. Saka, Emil Smith-Rowe, etc. Lacazette, is playing everybody else in and feeding other players in to get goals. Got Martinelli, Odegaard's now starting to pick up a few goals. So, we're on good form. And you look at our kind of our run into the end of the season, it's not easy. We've still got a few top teams to play, and some of those games are probably going to be quite important. United haven't got an easy run into the end of the season either. They've got a couple of key games. I think they've still got Liverpool left to play. I think they may have Chelsea as well still to play before the end of the season. Tottenham, if I remember rightly, they probably have the easier run in. So I'm probably more concerned about Tottenham, but again, they've not been the most consistent. But on their day, they can score goals, and they have got a pretty formidable strike force. When they want to play. So I think probably Tottenham for me are probably the ones that I'll be keeping my eye on at the moment. But I'm pretty confident. We've got a good squad of players. I think as long as, and it's what we've said previously, is that as long as we can keep people injury free. We can keep people fit, because we have got a pretty trim squad at the moment. So we're going to need everybody playing. There's probably going to need to be some rotation at some point with players like Pepe coming in and filling in spaces. But but I'm fairly confident. I think around the 8 mark is probably about right. Like Alex has said, no game's an easy game in the Premier League. Crystal Palace are playing very, very well. Vieira has got them well drilled. They're much better organised. And a game at Selhurst Park isn't going to be easy. But just look at our consistency and how we're playing at the moment. I think I'm fairly confident of getting points there. I don't think a draw, although I wouldn't be disappointed with the draw. I think we should be going for the 3 points. I think that's more than within our reach, and we need to be winning these games. Really, I think we've sat on 28 games with a game in hand against Tottenham and United. And we're 3 points ahead of Tottenham. So we need to be winning these games. We haven't got a 6-7 point lead, anymore with 2 or 3 games in hand. If we want to, I don't want to scrape 4th place either. I want to be comfortable at the end of the season that we've won that by a 4 or 5 point margin at least. So yeah, I'm confident. I think probably around the 7 or 8 mark of doing that. But it relies on keeping people fit. I think if we can keep people fit, I think we'll do it.
Yeah. Because the squad is quite small anyway, isn't it?
Yeah.
So any injuries. But let me ask you a quick question. I'm not trying. I'm like in my host mode.
You're in host mode, Alex.
I mean, guys, how many matches do you think we can afford to lose?
1, 2 tops. It's going to be very tight. Like I say, we've got 1 game in hand.
Yeah.
We've only got a 3 point buffer. That's not a lot. We've still got plenty of games left to play. Other teams like Tottenham have got a slightly easier run-in than us. They can catch those 3 points if we start dropping.
We don't want to be Leicester. We don't want to be Leicester City. Leicester City have played well the last couple of seasons. It just fell away in those last few weeks. And I don't know, putting myself in that mindset of a Leicester City fan, I'm sure they were disappointed in those final weeks, falling away and losing their form. And I think traditionally, top 4 is decided on the final day as well. Whether you be 3 points ahead and you need to cement that win or draw to get you there, it usually comes down to the last day of the season.
Yeah, but I think with Leicester City, they've been so reliant on Jamie Vardy. I know he's picked up an injury. So, yeah, are we comparable to Leicester City?
Not this season. I mean, if we had Aubameyang a couple of seasons ago, we would have been comparable to Leicester City. But now we're spreading goals all over the team.
Yeah.
And just to reply to Colin Young, said, lest we forget this fan base wanted Arsenal out for the 4th mindset. I believe, Colin, we're reclaiming our way to where we were 4 or 5 years ago. But we need to go further to be where we were 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Challenging City and Liverpool.
And you know what, Ray? 4th at the moment is an achievement. Like these things aren't going to happen overnight. You don't switch from being 8th place, and being let's face it, a mediocre squad with lots of personality clashes and issues, and almost just kind of floating along after Arsene left, which was likely to happen when you lose someone of that stature at the club. We were a little bit lost. And you're not going to get back to the dizzying heights of the Champions League and being really competitive in that and going for titles overnight. It's going to be a gradual process, and with the team that we've got, with 6 first team additions, that's a significant portion of the first team. To blend that number of players together, create the amount of culture change, have the impact he's had on this team and the club since he's been here. He's not been here that long. 2 or 3 years is not a long time, really, when you're trying to do all of that. And to be challenging for 4th when, with all of that, taken into account, I think that's a fantastic achievement. I actually think we're probably a year ahead of schedule, if that happens, to be honest. Yes, we should be aiming for 1st place. Yes, we should be aiming for Champions League. Yes, we want to be up there and challenging with the Real Madrid, etc., and doing all of that stuff. But right now, I think that is an achievement to hit 4th place. We have to push on. We have to do better than that. But right now, where we are right now in this process, as we call it, I think that is an achievement to do that with such a young squad.
Yeah.
I have a feeling Alex will not be as high as you guys, like in terms of 8 out of 10 and all that. I don't think he'll be as high as that. So we will talk about the fixtures right now. I'll have them scrolling down the bottom also to answer Alex's question. So we will have Crystal Palace away, Brighton at home, Southampton away, Chelsea away, And United home, West Ham at home, those 3 games will be in the same week. Chelsea, United, and West Ham, that will be tough. Leeds at home, Newcastle away, Everton at home, and then Tottenham will be rearranged probably somewhere between Leeds and Newcastle. So those are 6 away games and 4 home. I think we can afford to lose 2 games, Alex, in terms of how you're feeling out of 10.
Well, yeah, I think you're right. Actually, I'm not gonna give you a 0.5 anyway. Probably 6, probably 6. Actually 6.5 for the aforementioned reasons. I just can't forecast ahead and say, you know what, we probably can get these points. You know, this month we can probably get a win from there. I'd far rather focus on the next game in hand. And actually, the next game is against Crystal Palace. And like as the last, I think the stats I gave there against Crystal Palace, the last 5 games, we don't have a good record against them. 4 draws and I think 1 win, or 1 loss, I think. But yeah, Crystal Palace they're a dangerous team, and I doubt very much Patrick Vieira will be saying, "Oh, you know what? I'll give my ex-club, a free run." It's going to be a tough game. It will be a tough game. And you mentioned the next game will be against Brighton.
Brighton, yeah.
And what's the last 5 games been like against Brighton? I don't think we have the best record.
Yeah.
And then Southampton.
We know Southampton are very tough.
So there you go. I'm not confident. So it's a 6.5 for me. Sorry, guys.
I think this next 3 games coming up, Crystal Palace, Southampton, Brighton, however hard, however tough they are, I think we have to win them because those games against Chelsea, United, West Ham, and yes, there's some teams that are always our bogey teams, as you said, Alex, like the likes of Southampton away. There's a time we lost 4-0 there, but what gives me more confidence is we never beat Leicester as well. We did the double over them this season. We never beat Aston Villa as well. We did the double over them this season. So I think the mindset has changed. We are betting away games. We are winning away games. We are scoring goals away from home as well. I know Matt Ali said we didn't. So, Matt, how about you? What did you say in terms of how many games we can afford to lose out of this? 10?
I think it's going to be tight. I think Tottenham. It is going to be tight. I think 1 or 2 at the very most, and I think if we lose 2, we are going to probably rely on others' results a little bit. I think, like Alex says, we're going to have to take it game by game. Every game is a cup final, so to speak. And and like you said, Glenn, we have to just make sure we're getting those 3 points. We have to win those games, where we're playing the Brightons, the Crystal Palaces. Yes, they're not easy games, but we need to be getting those 3 points because I've got a feeling at the end of the season, it's going to be very, very close, between us, United and Tottenham, and it's simply going to be that one game, where you get a late goal against you or something like that, and you don't take your chances. That could be the difference, between getting that 4th spot or not, because like I say, we've only got a 3-point buffer and that can quickly go.
But you know what,
yes.
Matt? I don't want to paint, Granit Xhaka as I've got a funny feeling like he might have a say in where we end up. Whether I'm talking about the red card, I'm serious.
Well, do you know what, Alex? We all know he's been a bit of a liability, and you never know what Granit Xhaka you're going to get. Look, let's face it. The last few games, I think he's been excellent. There is a good footballer in there. He's not a bad footballer. I think he gets a lot of bad press, justifiably, because of his. What's his word? His discipline. But actually, technically, as a footballer, he actually does do a lot for us. He can be a negative footballer sometimes. He has been criticised for being kind of a bit sideways and backwards, the crab, as we know him. But he has been very good recently. And I can't knock him for that. His performances have improved. I think by a long shot, we've seen that when he's out, actually, we miss him. We do miss him. He's the best kind of midfield partner in there for Partey. Lokonga's not quite ready yet to take on that role on his own consistently. So at the moment, we need him. And like I say, Alex, we need him to be on the pitch and not getting red cards. So if he can continue not picking up silly bookings, I know he got a bit of a harsh one, I think, against Villa. I'm not sure what that was all about. But if he can stay on his feet, not go diving into challenges, not being reckless, think, use his brain, and stay on the pitch, then we've got a decent midfielder there who can really help us kind of get that fourth spot, I think. But we just need him to be consistent and use his brain. But like you say, can he do that consistently until the end of the season? And that's going to be the question, isn't it?
Ray, you
Just last
remember when we
question
met a few years ago,
on the
Ray?
fiction. Sorry.
Ray, you remember when we met a few years ago? What was the game? You're mute.
It was Brighton away from home, and it was Granit Xhaka against Glenn Murray, and it ended 1-1, and it didn't end. The season did not end on a good note.
I think
Granit
you
Xhaka-
need to go back on mute, Andre. I think you need to go back on mute. You're reminding us of some tough history, some tough memories. I think you need to go back on mute.
And you have to go through the hard times to appreciate the good times. And,
Absolutely.
Poor Granit Xhaka, he's now got a reputation amongst all of the referees, and there's imaginary fouls going on all over the place, like grenades on the pitch. There, 1, 2, 3, you did it, but you didn't do it. You still get a yellow card when you.
Yeah.
But he is that character that I always say he's not going to back down. We all maybe have a friend who we know we go out on the town with.
Yeah.
He's likely to get involved in an altercation, but you have to also like police or bodyguard him and keep him away from trouble. Well, Lacazette tries to do that. I can see it on the field, but he's got previous and he's going to get yellow cards, and he's got to keep his nose clean till the end of the season.
Yeah.
Yeah. Last question on the fixtures, Alex. Does it matter which games we lose? Let's say we win 8 games and then lose to United and Tottenham. Do you think you can still get the top 4?
I just don't see it, Glenn. I don't see it. Whoever we get the points from, whoever we lose against, whoever we draw against, I just don't see it, because the points are so tight. From 4th to 8th, the points are very, very tight. And again, just going on a losing streak of games, we're going to be out of it. But
I'd rather be in this, dare I say, commanding position.
Yeah.
And chasing. Our rivals, Man United and Tottenham, they're waiting for us to slip up, and they're feeling the pain that we've been feeling in previous years. But we're winning the games we should be winning. And Colin said we do have an aggregate of 17-3 against the top 3. And if we get into the Champions League level, we're going to meet those type of teams in the quarterfinals. But we have to start somewhere. We have to get into the Champions League and play to a decent level. We may win through to the final stage. We may not. But we got to go. We know the positions we have to strengthen in this summer as well.
Yeah, but also, I think, Ray, with the togetherness, I know Lacazette has spoken about the change in culture that Arteta has kind of instilled in the players and the mentality. I think that might just pull them through. The togetherness, again, the celebrating, and once we've beaten Aston Villa and the other club as well, that might be, the I don't know, maybe the watershed moment for Arsenal. But I'm not convinced.
I always go back to the Irish team in the 90s under Jack Charlton. It was almost like a club team, but it was an international side. And they did some good things through being together and having that unity amongst each other.
Yeah.
You're right, there's so many mentality tests this season. And the team, to be fair, have passed a lot of them.
Yeah.
And I think this kind of crunch time of the season, you've got this number of games left. You've got 4th in your sights. For a young team, it's a big challenge. It's a big test mentality-wise. Can they keep it together? This unity is fantastic to see, but can they keep their heads? Can they stay cool? Can they play games out and do, almost strategically keep games, when you're 1-0 up or, you're 2-1 up, doing things the wise way, maybe not going for that third, but being able to keep the ball and not give away silly goals. Can they do all that? It's going to be really interesting to see how this team responds to the pressure, because like you say, the teams are nipping at your heels. There is a certain pressure that comes with having games in hand and, being marginally ahead of 2 or 3 other teams snapping at your heels. So it will be interesting to see how they cope with that. Can they keep it together and keep this run of form going? It's going to be good. But I think if they can do it, I think that really sets us in a good place for next season. That's all experience banked. They'll know how to handle games the next time that comes to them. This is all really good experience for this team, I think.
But you know what, Matt, I think Ray's right. I'd far rather have the points. I'd rather be in 4th place than literally having a game in hand, which to me doesn't mean anything. It just means you've got an extra game to play. Yeah. So give me the points, give me the position, and everyone else can be chasing us. So Arsenal, it's in their hands. It's in their hands to lose, isn't it? So
yeah.
I'm so confident. I'm very, very confident, Alex, to the point of by the time we face Tottenham, I think we could be like 7 points ahead of them, and it wouldn't even matter if we lost to them. That's how confident I am.
And of course,
hopefully.
The big TV stations do not want that to happen, Glenn. They want that marketable fifth place playoff. Previous years was City and Tottenham years ago. They want that.
I think if we win this coming 3 games and also West Ham Leeds, I think we'll have done it by then, like in a comfortable position.
Can I just say I agree with Fazola? I would like to have a deserved 4th place, have a landmark win against the Tottenham or United team. Something we haven't done this season. We've been very consistent, but let's get that win, that big win.
Yeah.
I agree. I actually think it may come down to a game like Spurs or United. Those points. Because looking at Spurs and the run they've got, they should in theory be winning their games. So it could be, it could be that actually that game against Spurs could be more important than we think, maybe. But I hope Glenn's right. I hope you're right, Glenn.
I think we'll win 6 games, draw 2 games, and lose 2 games, and I think it will be enough for us. So hopefully it does work out. So from Colin in the chat saying, talking about obviously we can't compete with the Champions League sides and stuff like that. We have 17-3, all that. I've had a lot of people saying that. Why Arsenal going to the Champions League? They lose 10-0 to Bayern, all that. So why is finishing in the top 4 important? Because personally, I don't think we're going to the Champions League to win it. It's for different reasons. So I'll start with you on this one, Matt. Why do you think going to the top 4 or going to the Champions League is important? Like the top benefit for it?
Do you know what? There's so many reasons why it's important. And like you say, I agree. We're not going to be in that competition to win it. Let's face it. We're not, excuse the pun, we're not going to necessarily be cannon fodder. But I think there is going to be a point where, look, I think we have to be realistic. If we hit 4th, we are going to need to strengthen in the summer. We're going to need to see probably an equal number of players coming in, around that 5 or 6, coming in to strengthen, because we are very, very slim pickings in terms of depth. There's going to be a lot of players coming in and again, business being done in the summer to help us with that. But, financially, it's massive. Obviously the payments and revenue from that, especially post-pandemic, is going to be critical as a club, even of our size. Even Arsenal are going to have been impacted negatively by that. Attracting top names, at this point in the process where we've got a foundation to build on, and we've got that kind of, we've got the Sakas, we've got the Parteys, we've got the Emil Smith-Rowes, the Odegaards, we've got our back line sorted now, we've got that real concrete back 5. We just need that sprinkling of stardust, but when you're looking at trying to get that stardust, the top players are going to want Champions League football. So without that, where are you going to get that stardust from? You're either going to have to pay ridiculous wages and a ridiculous fee, or they're not going to come. And it's probably going to be the latter. So, for us, it's massive at this point, because this summer we need to be adding world-class players, really to push on from here. So Champions League football to me is massive for the future of this project, because if it doesn't happen, it puts us back another 2 years or so, I think, in terms of where this team's progress is. So it's huge. It's huge. It really is. And like you say, it's not so much for actually winning it. It's for the progress in this team and the experience as well. These players, keeping players like Saka, Emil Smith-Rowe, for example, other clubs are going to come sniffing. If we can be in the Champions League, that gives us a much better place to actually keep them for longer. It's so important for so many reasons, I think.
That was going to be my answer. Those 2 last things you just said, like keeping the top. The likes of Smith and the likes of Saka, keeping them in the team, and the likes of Ramsdale, he might be a top target for most teams, like in the next 3-4 years. So starting to play in the Champions League competition, like most of the players we have never played in the Champions League, like the Ben Whites, the Saka. So the experience, gaining that experience, and being in that together.
This is the reason why we were not that we're able to attract the Ramsdale, because coming to Arsenal would be a logical step and a great step up for him. But we're getting hungry players. We're getting young, hungry players into the team. They've seen what Liverpool can do. Bring in some young players from the lower reaches of the leagues. And, you can have your ambitions with Arsenal. We're growing, and our reputation is going to grow around Europe. yeah, as Matt said, keep our young players. They want to play in Champions League. They want to win things, and attract those players as well, and also bring some cash in. We're able to do more things in the transfer market, but we got to remember the bread and butter will be the league. Man United have done this under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. They've reached the heights, but then they've dropped out of top four. We have to. It's more important to be in the top four season after season than maybe lighten up the Champions League. We want to get there eventually, but you got to be in the competition every year to do something in it.
Yeah, absolutely. You actually have to be in the competition to win it, and we definitely want to win the Champions League, right, Alex?
Yeah, but Glenn, wouldn't you prefer if we took the Europa League route, win the Europa League, and go into the Champions League with some pedigree? Because, like a lot of people are saying, literally, we're nowhere near ready to play in the Champions League, and I understand it's a process, but why not win the Europa League? Go through the hard rounds, win the Europa League, and we go into the Champions League by default, and we go in there with good pedigree rather than running to get into top four. And by the way, over the last 10, 15 years, when we have been in the Champions League, we haven't been using the money that we've got or generated from the Champions League well enough. We haven't brought quality players over the last 10, 15 years.
I do believe Arteta has got the ear of our owners, and we have been spending money in the last 4 or 5 years. We've just not spent it correctly and properly. We haven't recruited the right players. I think Arteta is ambitious enough to he's trying to model Arsenal after City, I think, to be a possession-based team. And but Alex, I think if we go out in this summer, we always say every window is the most important, right? This summer, we're going to get those positions that we need filling, and hopefully we can be in a position of strength next season. And we
I
just
also
don't
want us to get rid of that feeling of not being there. Like when we went, like for 15 years, we couldn't win at United. For 10 years, we couldn't win at Chelsea. So I feel like if we don't qualify for the Champions League this season, and then obviously we'll be in the Europa League next season, and then that's already almost 10 years without Champions League football. And then you start doubting yourself, like, will Arsenal ever be back in the Champions League? The same way we usually go to United and be like, are we really going to win at United? So the moment you get back to Champions League, the feeling will be like, you know what, you can actually do it. So you can keep on doing it. Even if you go back to the Europa League the next season, then we can really definitely.
I think it represents us getting back to where we were 6 years ago. As I said earlier, we got another 10 years of history to reclaim in terms of tackling City and Liverpool, which will be a whole different challenge in of itself. But to get back to where we were 6 years ago is the first step, I believe.
But Glenn, so go on.
No, it's all right, Alex. I'll jump in after.
So Glenn, for you, is it more about the process, literally having more experience in the Champions League, or is it what do you? I'll throw the question back to you. Why is it so important for us to be in the Champions League, just to retain the players like Saka, Smith Rowe, and Ramsdale?
That is the top one. To retain our players and to bring in good players. One of the reasons why Vlahovic didn't come to Arsenal in January, I believe, is because of the Champions of not being in the Champions League and letting United or Tottenham finish ahead of us again. And then they'll be attracting better players than us for another 1 year or 2 years. I think that will be almost fateful for us. And then if you're not careful, you could be going 15, 20 years without Champions League.
I want a player who's going to come to us and make us better and not wait for us to be in a position where we're stronger before they come to us. Dennis Bergkamp, but we've seen maybe Erdegaard's come for different reasons, but maybe he's come to make us better. These type of mentalities we need in our team. It's not ready-made. You have to go and win something in terms of getting top four this season to be able to enjoy the spoils of it next season.
So that's the people as well. Why do you guys think it's important for us to finish in the top four? Go ahead, Alex.
No, I was just going to say, on Ray's point there. So if we do end up in the Champions League, are you saying that the players that we can attract are coming to Arsenal for the wrong reason because we're in the Champions League rather than?
Well, I think more so nowadays, you get players who want to wait and see. There's players that we are targeting now, probably. They're waiting. Their agents are waiting to see where we finish in the league before they're going to make a commitment to us of coming. And then you have the other kind of player. There are not so many of them out there, Alex, that will want to come to a club and actually make you better. Yeah. We're a mid-table team. We have to admit that last season. mid-table team and take us up into the top four and into the Champions League. There's two types of players out there, and most of them seem to want to wait and see where this club's going to be at the end of the season before they commit to anything.
Yeah.
I think the key thing there, Ray, as well, is just that, you know, we have a fantastic tradition as a club, fantastic history, but let's not get it wrong here. We've been kind of dining out on our invincible season for a long time. Our history 10 years ago plus for a long time.
Generational.
Yeah, it's generational. But you know what? A lot of these players that are kind of, you know, at the top of their game now, these 21, 22, 23-year-old players, they don't know half that squad. They probably wouldn't recognize them, you know? So we can only feast on that for so long. We can only use that to attract players for so long. You know, at this point, you know, like you say, you know, we're nigh on 10 years, you know, it's a long time. We need to be back up. If we are a big club, and it's, you know, we don't want to be one of this fan base or this club that we're harping back to 15, 20 years ago when we were successful. If we are a big club, we have to be playing in Champions League. We have to be top four. We have to be challenging for honours. You know, and the longer that doesn't happen, like Glenn says, you know, we can't keep pushing 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 years. The time is now. The momentum's there. We've got a really good foundation to go from. You know, we have to take that opportunity now to get back into that competition. Yes, do you know what? If we just sneak past the group stages and go out, that's not really all that important. What's important is actually having the quality to be in that competition, to be in that place in the league in the first place, and actually to be back on the top stage as a big club in front of, you know, the audience of millions again, you know, playing the top teams. And you can only build from there. But if you're not doing that, the gap, as we said, the Premiership is the most competitive league in the world. That gap between us and, you know, say 4th place and 8th place is getting ever smaller. You know, we have to really take that opportunity now while we've got it to really push ahead of these teams, you know, and start getting back on track. So for me, top 4 is so critical.
So answer to your question, Glenn, finishing top 4, I guess, is important for a monetary point of view, generating income, buying players, but make sure that when we do the recruitment, that we're not buying players who just want to come because they know we're in the Champions League. You know, give them the vision, a long-term vision of how Arsenal can be 3 to 5 years, and monetary, and making sure that we don't lose players like Smith Rowe, your Ramsdales, and so actually a lot of other players as well, and Martinelli as well. But
also, if we improve to that level, we're in top 4. We're consistently being top 4 in the league, and we're starting to challenge City and Liverpool. There's really not many other teams that Saka, Emile Smith-Rowe could possibly go to. You know, we limit that amount of destinations for them, and we make them think about us as a possible place to stay and win trophies, at least for the best years of their life in the next 5 years.
Yeah, but to get there, we have to keep our players fit. The other day, I did a video talking about how Arsenal and injuries have really damaged us for a lot of years. Like 2007, 2008, we didn't win the league because of Eduardo getting injured, Ramsey getting injured in 2010, Cazorla getting injured. It's always been haunting us. So whenever Arsenal does well. So this season, we've actually managed to keep most of our players fit for majority of the times. Like even Partey has been fit for like 2-3 months. Smith only got injured like once or something. Ben White has been consistent throughout the whole season. I think he's only missed 1 game as well. So I just need one player from each of you, just one player. Just mention one player's name, no 2 players or 3 players. So I'll start with you, Alex. Who's the one player who has to stay fit to help us improve our chances from finishing the top 4? Just one player.
Well, Glenn, I'm going to throw a big, massive spanner into the works. I'm not going to mention a player. I'm going to say one person who's actually, I think, part of the set piece coaching staff. We have not conceded a goal from set pieces or from corners, and it's all been down to this guy called is it Nicholas Jova?
Yeah.
And I thought, you know what, I'll give this guy props. Give him props, because how is it possible we've not conceded a goal from set pieces, from corners? So it'll probably be easier for me to say actually maybe Ramsdale or maybe Emile Smith-Rowe or Saka, but I'm going for the set piece coach specialist. Nicholas.
Very, very, very clever. Very clever, Alex. You're very clever, but you're definitely not going to dodge that question because Nikolayeva cannot get injured. So, which player does need to stay fit for us to finish in the top 4?
I would say Saka. I mean, between Saka or Emma Smith Rowe. I think is Smith Rowe still our top scorer? I think this season.
Yeah.
So yes, Saka or Smith Rowe.
In the league, Smith Rowe and Saka in the league are on 9, both on 9.
Oh, right, okay.
Rowe's on 10, I think.
Both on 10, all competitions.
There you go, Glenn. You've got your answer, Glenn.
Saka for Alex, and then also Nikolayeva to stay put for us to not concede from set pieces. What about you, Matt? Which is the one player that needs to stay fit?
Do you know what? This was a fantastic question, by the way, because there's a few in there. And for me,
I hope you don't take my. I don't feel.
Well, do you know what? The obvious comes up with Emil Smith Rowe, Saka, because they are our star boys. They do incredibly well. Emil Smith Rowe's our top scorer. Saka's always a constant menace, down that side. Odegaard for me is really instrumental as well because he just keeps things ticking along. He's that little, the orchestrator in the middle of the pitch. But you know what? This guy's name just keeps popping in my head, and I know it probably won't be a popular choice actually, and it's not Xhaka.
No,
it's not Xhaka. It's not Xhaka. But for me, it's Lacazette. To me, he's shown great leadership since he's been given that opportunity since Orba's left. He really, for me, brings that whole top line together. He's not scoring a lot of goals himself, but he's so good at bringing everybody else in, and he keeps things ticking along up there. I think we really struggle when he's not in the team in a lot of ways. I think we really miss that. We don't have anyone else in the team like him. I think he does a hell of a lot of groundwork and hard work and keeps things ticking along and bringing other players in, and creating opportunities for everybody else. And I think if you took him out, a lot of our attacking threat would go with it, I think. And not because he's scoring goals, but because he creates a lot for others. I think he's really important to us. So, I'm probably going to say Lacazette myself.
You're taking away the experience, taking away the leadership. I definitely agree.
Absolutely,
I've had people saying bench him, play this one, but I definitely do not agree with that. I have a feeling Ray was definitely not going to say Lacazette.
No, but I did worry that Matt was going to key in on the player that I'm going to mention, Aaron Ramsdale. And he's just transformed the way that we played out from the back, the confidence that we have at the back, the back five, right? That's what the podcast is all about here. The back five, not to hone in on that, but he's really, when you're playing in front of a goalkeeper who can communicate and can tell you where you need to be, if you're out of position, what you need to do. And yes, Alex, great shout. Nikolayeva, I didn't know his name, but we know now there's something like 120 corners this season.
Oh, yeah.
Now that we're talking about it, it's probably going to happen at some point. But, we've been playing on fine margins, and Arteta's demanded that solid foundation. The fifth best, I think we were the third best defense last season. Why did we go out and spend all that money on a goalkeeper, on a central defender, on a right back? We did that so we could build from the back. And a lot of us wanted that striker in the summer. A lot of us wanted that striker in January. And, the chickens may come home to roost in that department. But, the confidence and just playing out from the back, we've lived on fine margins, so hopefully it continues. It's a little bit of a gamble for this season, but so far it's paying off with Aaron Ramsdale. And the heads don't go down. When I think Gary has mentioned before, when Gabriel made that mistake against Wolverhampton Wanderers with the back pass.
Guess what?
Ramsdale was mic'd up. Speaking of devil.
I thought he did that on purpose. I was like,
impeccable timing, Gary. Impeccable
timing. But look, the communication and the way he's saying, forget about it. We're a goal down, but we're going to get it back, and we're going to get even. And in the end, Lacazette, Matt's choice. forced the winner in the end of that game. So communication from Ramsdale and the unity. He embodies the unity in the team this season.
Yeah, that's a good shout, Matt. Though like I said, that's a good shout.
No, cheers, Alex. It's tough, and Ray's right, because Ramsdale does bring a hell of a lot of this to this team. I think one of the reasons why I didn't go for Ramsdale was just because I'm just purely, if you take the personality out of it and playing out the back, we do have a very good goalkeeper in Leno there. And I don't necessarily lose any confidence when he's there, but we do, Ray's absolutely bang on. That playing out from the back has been really instrumental and almost like a 12th man for us at times. It's almost like a midfielder being able to thread balls through, at times. So
also, Matt and everyone, I just love the connection that he's had with the fans as well. When Lacazette scored a penalty, I think it was against Wolves in the home game, he's looking at the crowd. Ramsdale's looking at the crowd. He doesn't want to look at the penalty, but he's looking at the reaction to the supporters. And I think Arsenal have lost that connection over the last few years with the supporters, and Ramsdale has been a big part of rekindling that connection.
Glenn, can I change my choice, Glenn?
No, unfortunately. let's bring Gary. How are you, Gary?
I'm doing good. Sorry about my tardiness. So hopefully you guys were okay without me.
No problem. I guess. So we are talking about the most important player for us in our top 4 race. Alex has said Saka, Ray has said Lacazette, and Matt has said Ramsdale. No, he said Ramsdale, he said Lacazette. The opposite. What about you?
Wow. Well, that's a good question. I didn't even. Okay. Right now, I think the most important person in the top 4 race is, I think it's Partey. I think it's the midfield. We've noticed, everybody, because everybody else had their picks, but I'll go with Partey. I think if he continues to play like he has, we're going to be able to have chances to win. Yes, I think when he's out and when Xhaka is out, we notice the team is just not the same, right? Their leadership isn't where we would like it to be, but their importance to us controlling the games, I think, is missed when they're not out there. And Partey, I don't even think he's shown us exactly everything that he's still got in that, in his tool chest right now. I think there's still more to come if he continues to improve and stay healthy. That's been the Achilles heel for him, is just he hasn't been healthy for us, and now he is. And I think he's making life easier for Xhaka as well, right? We don't have to put much on him in terms of importance in the middle of the pitch, and so much so now that we're able to push him forward, right? And so he's controlling that, that space right in front of the back line. And I just want more of whatever Partey has. It's hopefully he'll score, but until then, I'll let him control that middle. So I think that makes it easier for our defense when he's back there, right? We're keeping clean sheets, and that's what partly for him. We're able to push the ball forward and get it up to Erdegaard, and at some point maybe we'll have an Erdegaard and Emile Smith-Rowe partnership sitting in front of him at some point. That'll be nice to see how that works out, and then we'll go from there. But Partey for me, and it's only recently, right, we've seen that presence from him. All the other players that you've picked have shown pretty much for most of the season that they're worth, especially Ramsdale. Day one, Ramsdale has been there, but we need to control the middle, and we're doing that now with Partey. So I'm going to go with Partey.
I'm actually surprised with the first one to mention Partey. That was definitely going to be my choice. Now, I definitely agree with everyone. Saka, Ramsdale. Some will mention the likes of Gabriel. Some will say Tierney. But I think for someone like a Saka, I think if you play like a Brighton at home and you start someone like a Smith on the right, Martinelli on the left, I think you can still get a result even without Saka on the pitch. I think the way you saw Leno the other day, you can still get a result with Leno on the pitch. Yes, Ramsdale brings extra, but yes, you can still get a result with him. But without Partey, you're moving from Partey to an El Neni. I am not sure you can do the same job in the middle. The reason why we are playing a 4-3-3 right now is because of Partey. Xhaka has gotten a new role pushing forward on the left side. I think if Partey gets injured right now, you have to revert back to a 4-2-3-1 because he cannot play Lokonga by himself in midfield. You're going to have to push Xhaka back in the middle, and then we'll unfortunately see what we've been talking about. Xhaka picking up red cards again, because that position in the middle, I do not like him there at all. So I think Pat is the first pick. And then maybe another guy you guys have not mentioned is Ben White. Now, I see a lot of people picking up on him, like yesterday when England was playing. You would think he had a very terrible game, but he actually didn't. He covered centre-back, he moved to the right back for the last 20 minutes. I think it's very important as well. He's the English defender who's kept the most clean sheets this season in the Premier League. I think it's like 12 or something. So anyone who picks on Ben White, you can tell that they've seen something in Ben White and they're not comfortable with it at all. They've seen his I'll tell you why he's not worth 50 million, because he's worth 100 million. And I think his partnership with Gabriel, if you take out Ben White and you bring in Holding to play with Gabriel, again, that's a very, yes, Holding can do the job for the last 10 minutes, but for the whole game, the passing accuracy from Ben White, I don't know if you guys know this, Ben White has only picked up one yellow card this season. One.
Impressive.
As a defender.
Yeah, impressive.
Very impressive. Most of our players have picked up 2 red cards, 1 red card, 5 yellow cards, 7 yellow cards. Ben White has played every single game apart from one against, I think it was Man City early in the season, and he's only picked up 1 yellow card. So the discipline, the durability, playing every single game, I think is also.
He gets that at Brighton, because didn't he do the same at Brighton? I think, didn't he play every single game in that season at Brighton? Yeah, so he's got that in his locker, isn't he? Yeah.
Something we shouldn't highlight, but there is a little bit of a nasty or a housery.
I didn't want to say anything.
No, I like it. I love it.
But he's got that face. Maybe he's got that face.
Yeah.
The refs have not caught on to him yet, or caught on to him yet. So
I love it about him. And the legend is here. My hair says, I'm definitely not comfortable with Benjamin. I mean, that's what people say, but I think he's added a lot to our team. Like, I'd rather have Ben White than Mustafi in the team. Noise is 100 million. Yeah. Okay, maybe it's not 100 million, maybe 150 million. Arsenal is a real band. Anytime Saka has the ball, like something is going to happen. As always, is a very good player. So those are our picks. Let us know from you guys as well. So back to you, Gary, something we talked about. Ali, how confident are you about finishing in the top 4 out of 10?
I'm confident if everything goes perfect, and that is the not Achilles heel, but that's the issue for us. If we had the depth, then I would feel really confident about it, but we don't. So it's kind of, if we can start, we have our starting 11 that we know now. If that can stick and will play out most of the games, we're going to have it, no problem. But if we have to start going to the bench, if right now you've got both Saka and Emil Smith Rowe not playing in European football right now for different reasons. Hopefully that doesn't trickle into the next, into when they come back. Tomiyasu still is out, all right? So we're going to have to keep holding on. Hopefully Cedric will continue to play like he has and not dip in form. So, yeah, we can do it. I guess my confidence isn't that high because of the depth that's required for us to continue through this next 10 games. I think for me, we have to win the next 3, and then I'll be fine with that 3-game stretch where we have Chelsea in the middle. You know what I mean? So the more points we put up early, this is our easiest stretch too, right? You look at the rest of the games, there's no 3-game stretch where we're playing teams that we should be able to beat. A lot of times it's like, I don't know. But if we put 9 points up, I think that will put a lot of pressure on these other teams. But if we kind of, if we're able to, if we only get like 7 or 5 points out of the next 3, I think that will let some teams back in, feeling they have some confidence to continue on. So we need to be perfect, and perfect to me means no red cards. So far, so good. No injuries. We've only had the one Tomiyasu, and hopefully, the 2 youngsters will come back and we'll be fine there. And then no sicknesses, right? So there's three issues. What are you smiling at, Ray? He's like laughing at me.
Because you're confident with a lot of provisions going on there.
Yeah, I can only. It's the only way I can feel.
I'm confident, but A, B, C,
you know what? Those are the issues, though.
Exactly.
Your lawyer has looked over this.
Yeah.
Clauses everywhere.
If you told me like a January window would have brought in 1 or 2 players, I would have been a little bit more confident. I wouldn't have had to look at depth as being an issue, right? I mean, the team is playing. We're most uninformed team until we can't play with that team. That's so that's my concern. There is just we can continue to play our 11. Next 3 games are important to me. It might not matter, but I think if we put pressure on other teams by winning those 3, I think that would be really good for us. So,
Gary,
yeah.
out of 10, how confident are you of
Out of
top
10,
4?
I guess I'm a 6 right now.
Yeah. I'm not the only one. I'm not the only one.
I'm a 6. Yeah, and
Alex,
you know what? It's
your number
best
was what?
yeah, it is.
6.5?
You know what? If they win the next 3, I'll be an 8. All right.
Yeah.
If we have
Wow,
9
if they
points,
win,
we're in the
be alive.
60-point range when it comes to the biggest stretch of games that we have. I'll be really confident at that point. But this break maybe came at a good time, maybe not. If Tomiyasu doesn't come back, it doesn't really matter whether or not we had the break. But yeah, I think we're gonna have to pull out something out of the hat when we need to. That's gonna be the trick here. So yeah, that's me. So I'm at a 6. And I have all these caveats to it. Sorry, Ray. So that's where we are.
I wouldn't expect it any other way.
So we've gone past 1 hour. So let's go to the final question. So really enjoyed this, by the way. So short answers from you guys. I'll start with you, Alex. Who are you worried about the most? Tottenham, West Ham, or United?
United.
Ray?
Definitely agree. United have the squad that we don't have. We have the unity. They don't have it, and I'm banking on that. They're not going to be good enough or consistent enough as we have shown that we've been for 3/4 of the season now. So nothing really to worry about. West Ham, I think, are Europa League. Tottenham are going to be very inconsistent. Conte is going to be jumping around or crying every other week.
Ray, he said a short answer.
That was my short answer.
Matt, who are you going for?
I'd say United as well. Like you say, Tottenham are too inconsistent. I think they'll pick up points, but I don't think they'll be able to do it all that consistently. United have a much better squad, and technically they should be able to mount a more kind of consistent challenge until the end of the season. So I think they're probably the ones to look out for.
Gary, do we have a full house of United?
Sorry, my first thought was that team anyways, and I don't say their name. So
Yeah.
they're in North London as well. So I kind of feel like because they are you never know what you're going to get. They're like a box of chocolates, right? They could go on a stretch because they have quality players that every once in a while will show up. So United seems to can gel, but hasn't yet. So every once in a while you see something really good from Tottenham. I said the name, but yeah.
You compare them to chocolate. I may never eat chocolates my whole life again. For me, I'd say Tottenham. Because of their fixtures. I think like they have the likes of Newcastle at home. Yes, Tottenham have sometimes they do drop points in such kind of games, but their fixtures are so nice. I actually think they're the ones who are going to finish below us if we get 4th. United's fixtures away to Liverpool. I don't think they'll get anything from there. Like they have to play Chelsea. Yes, they're coming to the Emirates. They usually do beat us at their place, but at the Emirates, I would at least hope for a draw and not a defeat by United. So their fixtures.
United have to go to Crystal Palace at the last day of the season, so Patrick Vieira may not do us a favor on Monday week, but last day of the season, fingers crossed, Crystal Palace.
Awesome. So just a few comments and then we call it a day. RK, thank you for the super chat. She says the Back 5 podcast, first episode, amazing live stream. Yep, absolutely enjoyed it. Shout out to Canon Ford, Alex, for putting this together. Really, we're going to be doing it once every month. Doesn't mean you're not going to be watching this, guys. You can always check out Alex on Canon Ford. Ray on Arsenal Circle, same with Gary and Matt, they're always there as well. So the links will be in the description. You can click there and subscribe to them as well. And I had a question here from 2 questions. Abdi said, what do you think Rashford can Rashford basically be the new Arsenal striker? What do you think of this match? Rashford to Arsenal?
Everything points to me and says, no, wouldn't touch it. He's a good player. Don't get me wrong. He's a top quality player, but I don't think really. if we're going to seriously progress and really want to kick on, we need to be looking above him. We need to be looking beyond that. So no, I think knowing Arsenal, it's a deal that we could potentially see, but I'd hope not. I think there are better options out there, and I think realistically we'll probably be looking beyond him and elsewhere.
And Manish earlier on had said, which striker would you sign? Dominic, Calvert-Lewin, Nunes, Broja, or Richarlison? Alex, I'll come to you on this one. Which striker would you want to see?
I would probably go for Richarlison. I think he has a better strike rate, I think, than Lacazette. If memory serves you right, but Richarlison.
Any different options, Gary Ray?
I think I like Borja. I think he looks promising, and it will just fit in with the age dynamic that we have on the team. We still need a senior striker to come in anyways, but it would be nice to have somebody like him come in and help out. So that might be a far stretch based on his performances anyway. So, but that's where I would go.
Really.
Yeah.
I really like Nunes. He's been doing it in the Champions League as well, and consistent in the Portuguese league. I think Nunes is the one to go for.
Awesome, guys. So thank you very much. I really enjoyed this. Alex, I hope it went the way you had expected it to go.
Better than I could ever imagine. I'd say it's been good, literally, to have Arsenal-related channels coming together, doing this collaboration. But it's good sharing this space with every one of you guys. Good.
Yeah.
Well done.
Enjoyed it.
Likewise, Alex and Glenn. Thank you.
Yeah, thank
Yep.
you. Thank you. Sorry for my tardiness, but yeah.
No problem. I believe you have a show today, Ray?
Yeah, in about 18 minutes from now, over Arsenal Fan Circle.
So the link is in the description. Make sure to go over there and check them out as well. And you can follow the guys on Twitter, Cannon4.tv, Arsenal Circle, AFC Red Room, and also Don't Waste the Tweets. And speaking of not wasting, let's not waste any more time. Let's end this. Enjoy your Sundays, guys. Enjoy Mother's Day as well over those sides as well. Thank you for watching. Hit the like button, and I'll catch up with you guys on the next one.
Well done, guys.
See you later. Come on, you Gooners.